Kakio kitatum skatanoao. Tapwe mio gisagao. Greetings to you all. It's a beautiful day. My name is Dwayne Donald, and I'm here beside this beautiful river we know as Nêhiyawêwin. In English, it's the North Saskatchewan River. Here at this place called Edmonton today, that I prefer to call by its much more ancient name, amiskwaciy, which are the Beaver Hills. So I'm here in the amiskwaciy region, and it's my home. It's a place I've lived for the large majority of my life, and I descend from the Beaver Hills people, the amiskwaciy. I also have Métis relatives, Norwegian relatives, Scottish relatives, and probably a few more relatives that I haven't mentioned, but I like to honor them all in the work that I do. I'm a professor in the Faculty of Education at the University of Alberta, and I'm also a Canada Research Chair for a research initiative we titled Reimagining Teacher Education with Indigenous Wisdom Traditions. And as part of that work, we wanted to introduce this Walking Vodcast idea that really the credit should go to my friend and a grad student that I work with named Megan Tippler. This was her idea. And so the credit goes to her for that, and a lot of the technology that I don't know much about, she's the one working with it. And so this opening, this introductory vodcast episode is to help you understand what this is about, what you can expect from the other, the episodes to follow, and I guess to contextualize a lot of the thinking that goes into why we think these vodcasts could be helpful to some of you. My friend, my adopted brother, Dale Saddleback, he gave it a very appropriate name, a name for this Walking Vodcast series, meskanâs kâpimâcimohk, which is to say, walking a little path together and sharing stories, which is really, as I said, the spirit and intent of this Walking Vodcast series. And so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to put this GoPro on my chest, and we're going to go for a little walk, and I'm just going to share a few things with you to help you understand the purpose of this Walking Vodcast and what we hope you take away from it. So let me do that. Hopefully this won't be too awkward for you. It's a beautiful day here in amiskwaciy. It's warmed up a little bit, and it's a bit more comfortable for doing things like this. So, in my own life, my own work, walking and running has become my medicine. And this is something I've known for quite a while. An important part of, how I look after myself and how I make sense of things, I guess you could say. And one thing I've learned is that if I want to think creatively, or if I have something I need to try to puzzle on, I need to go for a walk. It's like when I walk, I'm put in the flow of things, and good things emerge through that process of walking. I have to move to think in ways that I think are productive. And so with all that in mind, and this idea of walking in beautiful places like the one you see here, the idea for the vodcast is to invite my friends, my colleagues, to choose a place to walk, a place that matters to them, I guess you could say, and for us to talk. And the topic of our walking and talking has to do with colonialism and our relationships to colonial worldview. So let me explain a little bit about that and why that matters. The way I think about it is if we remember what Christopher Columbus did, however long ago that was now, what we've seen since that time is a very gradual, steady imposition of a particular way to understand life and living, a particular way to understand what it means to be a human being living well, and a particular relationship to knowledge and knowing. So colonial worldview has had the power, continues to have the power, to impose on people all around the world this model or this blueprint of how to be a successful human. And as we know, it's caused a lot of problems for people all around the world. One of the, guiding principles of colonial worldview as a structure and as a logic is relationship denial. My view is that colonial worldview it's based on denying relationships. It teaches us to deny relationships. And this relationship denial comes in a lot of different forms and different representations. One of the most devastating forms of relationship denial through colonial worldview is the ways in which the mental or the intellectual part of you is considered more important than the emotional, the spiritual, the physical. So the more we become educated, the more the four parts of us become disassociated from each other. So that's one part of this relationship denial legacy that is a shared experience for anybody who's been formally educated, I would say. Another form of relationship denial that we all know about is the ways in which we're taught that we should deny relationships with people who are different from us, people who pray differently, people who speak differently, people who have a different culture from us. We're taught to fear that difference, to see it as problematic. And so this is where we get these arbitrary categories of race and culture and who's superior and who's inferior. This is all part of colonial worldview. And we've all been affected by that particular form of relationship denial and how we interact with others perceived to be different. And the last one I'll mention is the ways in which we're taught that our needs as human beings are always more important than the needs of other forms of life. So we're taught to deny our relationship to what gives us life, all the life around us. This is a fundamental part of colonial worldview, I would say. It's had devastating effects, as we know. And so what we want to do with this Walking Vodcast, this meskanâs kâpimâcimohk now project, is to invite friends and colleagues at different places to walk with us and to share their stories of their own experiences with colonialism, how they would characterize their relationship to colonialism as a worldview, as a structure, as a logic. And then maybe more importantly, what are those events or experiences in their lives that have caused them to understand differently? And we use that phrase, unlearning colonialism. So what are the experiences that they have had in their own lives that have helped them unlearn relationship denial? And, you know, one of the things I would say is that if relationship denial is much of a problem as, you know, I think it is, then the most important thing we can do in our educational work these days is try to repair those relationships that have been denied and renew them on different terms. And so these are the stories that we're interested in hearing from the people that we walk and talk with. What are their experiences with colonialism, and how have they what have they gone through to start to unlearn colonialism, to unlearn relationship denial. And of course, the hope is that for you listening, for you watching, to listen in the ways that we hope you do, that it will inspire you in your own life, your own work. Oftentimes when we hear the stories of others, the struggle, the difficulty, we understand differently our own struggles, our own difficulties. And this is the hope, just by walking together on this little path and sharing these stories, that it's going to somehow help make a difference in how people understand the struggle and what it takes to unlearn colonialism. So I hope you join us. I hope you enjoy the episodes that are to come. And hi, kinanas kom tinawao. Thank you all.